If Duggan wants me to pose nude, he's gonna have to pay me double.
Hello kids and kittens, it's Duggan here, and welcome back to one of these monthly rambly videos which I do from time to time on this gaming channel. I kind of use a little outlet to say, I'm just talking randomly to the microphone, because okay, technically actually, you can probably see me now, though, because I'm recording this in the car. It's very hot outside. I've got the AC on full blast, that's probably what you can hear slowly humming in the background, and I'm stuck in a traffic jam, so I thought, why don't I multitask and actually make better use of my time? Handbrake going on. I just spent the last 10 minutes, actually, yeah, 10 minutes, yeah, I just checked the dashboard, 10 minutes, in a traffic jam within the car park. So essentially, I park up on like level 3, and obviously I've got to go down like 2 flights of spirally thingy bobs for it to actually get anywhere. And then obviously, ooh, it looks like the traffic's moving again, so hang on one moment. This does not bode well in the long future, because I know I need to get this transfer this entire length. I can see it right in front of me. Actually, hang on. I'm just going to move this so you can see it. That entire length. Count this makes me sound pessimistic. It's just going to take me a lot more longer to get home than it would do normally. Bollocks! But hey, so that's kind of what I thought I'd multitask and actually record this kind of video file now, and so I can just put a bit of gameplay footage on top and just hit render and actually upload it to YouTube's in about 45 minutes. Yay for fast broadband! And let me know if you actually understood what I said though, because I just cranked up the rev count quite high. I'm not quite sure. I'd be curious. I know what it'll sound like when it comes to iMessaging. I'll probably hear the difference quite easily. But I'll be interested to hear what you guys think about it. So, anywho, moving onwards, what have I been doing recently? Well, most recently, I've been gotten into Hellgate. Well, I say Hellgate. I was about to say Hellgate London, actually, but it's Hellgate Global, technically. Oh, the cars are moving again. Here we go. Brum, 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 brum. No, okay, full start. We're not going yet. Yeah, who gives a shit? Anyway, Hellgate London, Hellgate Global. Anyway, Hellgate Global, I keep digressing on this. It originally started off, I was actually looking for an idea for the Valve community pages. No, not Valve community. I was looking at the Valve Steam Workshop interface. I thought, there was a really awesome sword, in my opinion, back from the days of when I played Hellgate London, so this is back in 2007, 2008, which effectively was used by the Blade Masters, well, Blade Masters and Templar, well, I say Blade Master, I was a Blade Master that used it, but obviously the Guardians can use it as well. Okay, these are the Templars, okay, and obviously they have shields, and they have swords, and they also have little, like, pistol things as well, but it's their primary, the Templars, they're knights, they're gonna run around with a fucking broadsword, bitches! Slashy, hacky name upon. Essentially, I had this really crazy idea of actually looking up what a cinder spike would look like. Essentially, as I said, this was essentially, it looked like a big long rod, and right at the end of it was almost like going perpendicular to the main shaft was almost like a little sparky bit. That's the best way to describe it. And I was actually wondering, what about if I can actually import that into some kind of modelling, not to say import it directly, but obviously, what if I was to start from scratch, model it up, and it's a bit as a Pyro's melee weapon, and perhaps maybe put like a conditional if person is already lit, does not cause any extra damage. Well, actually no, it's like a sparky tool, so I was going to say, if they're already ignited, you're not going to cause any extra damage, but if they're not ignited, ka-ching! So it's almost like the exact opposite of the extinguisher. If they're already on fire, you can hit them and they take more damage. But essentially, I'm sure obviously the people behind the scene will kind of rebuff this accordingly. And essentially, when I was actually looking for since as well, I actually discovered that Hellgate Global is now free to play. Or more importantly, Hellgate Global is going again, or Hellgate London is now Hellgate Global. I'm going around with this in a really hopscotch way, aren't I? But essentially, back in 2009, it's probably like 2008 technically, end of 2008, start of 2009, the company behind Hellgate originally, technically EA, but I was going to say EA was just for publishers, but it was then like Namco and Pingu, with the two distributors basically. They were the people that developed it and then released it and all that kind of shit, and they went bust. Anyway, the whole aspect of it behind it is that back in 2010, an Asian firm bought up the rights to Hellgate. And initially I thought it was just going to be, they're going to just carry on with the same old hattie, they're going to keep on charging, and obviously just, once they got it, they're just not going to do it, it's going to be like an Asian-only server, and it's all going to be Chinese Cyrillic lettering and all that kind of random stuff you see in foreign films. And much to my surprise, obviously more recently I've then discovered, it's now free to play. Obviously, it's apparently actually the Asia server is actually crap at the moment, and it's actually running off a single US server, which obviously does mean I get a little more higher ping than I do if I was using the European servers. But it's going, it's running at least. I was going to say, what's even more impressive is it looks like they've kept all the original content that was in Hellgate London. So it's essentially they still carried on the core mechanics of Hellgate, and at that time when they actually had the game out originally, the 1.1 patch also came with the Stonehenge Chronicles, which was obviously expansion on the original combat area, taking you into the wild and the deeper wild, and obviously essentially the 4 demon masters. Essentially, so there's the spectral, there was the demon, there was the zombie based, and there's also the haunted. So actually, haunted, that's making out sense. Shit, you got me thinking now. Beast! Sorry, my bad. So essentially, you had all these different had all these different monster bosses, and the aim of this was, once you defeated these bosses in turn, you would collect their head. Now, obviously, you're thinking, what do I do with collect the head? Once you got all 4 monster heads, so to speak, you could then attend the Moloch's court, which was like Moloch's dungeon, then Moloch's deeper dungeon, and Moloch's court, when you actually fight Moloch. And he's like the big bad guy you actually see in one of the CGI trailers for Hellgate, the original Hellgate. I'll link you to that if you wish. Is the guy right at the end you see, that was Moloch, or is Moloch. Essentially, the Moloch's court, I could get so far into it, but because my internet connection was so shitty, as soon as you disconnected, whatever fee you paid to get in, the monster heads you brought to this contest, if you will, to enter into Moloch's court, as soon as you got in, they're out of your inventory. And as soon as this happened, if you disconnect, you're gone. You can't just go and rejoin again. So I think I managed to see Moloch once by joining someone's party, and it's, that being said, I was like only about level 32, and these guys were like level 50. That's the maximum rank you can get in the game, actually. And there I was, just looking at the back saying, I had not got a fucking clue what's happening here. I'm just going to fire my gun. Fired off once, instant death by the Moloch. What the fuck? I was like. Anyway, I digress. Obviously, carrying on from that, obviously, the Stonehenge Chronicles was just a subscriber-only content, which obviously the new guys, Habitasoft and T3 Fun, have actually expanded to include as part of the free-to-play. Now, also, looks like they've included the Abyss expansion as well, which was the 1.2 patch that was going to be rolled out. It was being tested on their test servers right around the time their company went bankrupt, which was the 1.2 patch they were working on, which looked like a lot of fun, actually, what they're doing, and they're expanding upon the universe and adjusting certain mechanics. And I was looking forward to it, because essentially they'd altered the summoner's build types. Essentially, you could actually morph yourself into a demon potentially, which that itself looked fun. So I think that's what I'll probably be doing when I get to Abyss level, to try and do a summoner, just to have a go with that, actually. So perhaps I should have done that instead of the engineer done. I digress. But here comes the interesting bit. So these are all bits I was aware of. They've recently, I say recently, May just gone, as if they just released the 1.3 patch, which also now has Japan. Which has Japan. It was Japan as a playable area. Now, I have no idea what the hell is going to happen with that. But that would explain why some of the new architecture and player selection menus show a Japanese backdrop. So, which is really exciting. So essentially, I am looking forward to getting through to this. Obviously, this is going to come full circle completely, because obviously I'm sure you may have noticed on this channel. So obviously what you may notice on the FPS Duggan channel is I have been doing a lot of Hellgate videos. And I've done it in such a way, potentially, that there's a map of London. Okay, well, I say the map of London. There's an underground map of London as seen in the game. And all the Assailant videos I've got so far can be accessed via the London map. So obviously you probably see at the top of each of these London videos, these London Hellgate videos, there's click back to go to the map. And obviously you go to the map, it has all the little icons to link you to all these different video files. So that's what I'm getting towards, is obviously the whole idea is when this is all finished, I'll have a map for Act 1, Act 2. Ideally I'd like to have one London map, period. But it looks like such a large area to be covered, I don't think I can do it all in one video and still be able to people be able to see the names on it. So what I'm more likely to do is do like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, Act 5, Stonehenge, Abyss, Japan, all as separate map files, and then obviously make a single composite video, essentially obviously saying Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, blah blah blah. Japan, yeah, obviously, so essentially you just get like Act 1 or Act 2 as a video file itself. This is the London map. Click to go back to the main menu, click back to the main menu. So essentially this is a test run for a later project. I'm looking at doing this also for Mass Effect. So essentially you go to click anywhere in the galaxy on Mass Effect and you watch a video. That's the idea. Well, it actually pans out like that, I have no idea. Anyway, car moving. And oh, actually, shit, the traffic just eased up immensely. Not quite sure what happened there. Well, what I'll do is I'll wrap this up very quickly in that case. In a nutshell, the whole series of the Hellgate videos is I'm putting together as a map configuration to test out a concept I have for Mass Effect. Essentially, obviously, the map interface you have in the new Hellgate Global videos I'm doing, you'll see that similar in a Mass Effect video in the not distant future. I would like to also remind you guys I've done something up on the main channel, and hopefully that should also be over onto Machinima shortly as well. Anywho, I'm Mr. Duggan. Ciao for now.
Dugan.